Welcome back to Make It Mondays, and this week I'm working on a new commission. This one is for a child who is very interested in a video game online. So this is going to be one of the, I believe, mobs in that game. I have never played, so I'm having to pull images off of the internet to figure out what the little guy looks like. So let me get everything turned around and I'll show you how he's getting started. So I have worked across and now it's time to pick up the stitches to go up the side of the foot. This is a blocky little friend, so I am picking up stitches purlwise rather than knitwise, so there is a corner. And I'm trying to get behind just that V. And sometimes it's easier than others. This yarn's being a little fussy today. So there we go. And then I'm going to continue that process all the way around and then continue working up in seed stitch all the way, switching colors in a little bit, which I will show you, and I'll show you how it all gets finished up. Be back in a bit. So I've now finished the little foot, and now it's time to switch over to the rest of the leg. So instead of working in pattern, I'm going to be knitting all the way around so that there are no funky purl bump colors on the right side. So if we look on the inside, it looks like that, and we don't want the black on top of the green anywhere on the outside of the project. So I'm going to finish this round. I'm going to try to hold the working yarn from the black to the inside, so it's a little bit easier to finish up the ends in a little bit. There is a way to knit over ends as you work. I personally do not do that. I don't feel like it actually secures them well enough for me, but that is personal choice, not actual, so personal opinion, not it is right for everyone. So I've gotten all the way around, and I'm going to look down to see where I'm at with all of this, and I'm on a row that starts with a knit. So knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one, and then we're knitting the corners. And in this case, corner means the last stitch on each needle, not the first stitch. Okay, so we're going to work like this all the way up to the top. I will try to be back for how the little legs are finished up. And I just realized I did that side wrong. But I will try to be back for how the legs are finished up. Otherwise, I will be back when it's time for the body. Be back in a bit. So I'm really sorry. I did forget to come back when I put the legs on. The legs were knit two together across the front and the back of the little critter. And for those of you who play a certain crafting game with a lot of mining, I'm sure you have realized what this little critter is. So I'm going to keep working as I have for the legs. It's just now double the width, but it is the same depth. So I'm going to work up for his full height, and then I will be back to show how the top is done, since I did skip that on the legs. So I'll be back in a bit. So here I am at the end of the body. So this is the final height. And I'm going to purl all the way across this row so that it turns a little bit more squarely. It still won't be a perfect square at this row, but it's going to be better than if I didn't. So going all the way across, and I am dropping knitting needles at this point just because that way it's a little bit easier for me to work back and forth on the stitches that I need. And then I'm going to knit my corner turning stitch and the stitch behind it together. I'm going to flip the work, slip that stitch I just knit, and then I'm going to go back to my purl 1 knit 1 pattern. Even though this portion of the little critter won't actually be visible. I'm being very conscious about where the stitches are on the remaining needle, just so they don't fall off and I have to pick them back up. So working all the way across, getting to that same stitch on this side, so the one that I've knit all the way up. I'm slipping them so that they lie in the correct order, and then purl those together. And I'm going to keep going like that all the way until I get to the last row. And at that point, I'll stuff it and close it up, probably by knitting through. But I will be back when it's time to attach the head to the body. So here I am ready to pick up some stitches along the side of our little friend here to connect his head to his body. So I'm going through the stitch on the headpiece and the stitch on the body. I'm going to pick up the new stitch through both. So 1, 2, then pulling through both. Again, this is super duper fiddly, but that is just how it's going to work. So he is only going to be connected on what should be his right and left shoulder, not across the center of his head. So his head will not be connected across the middle. So this section will be unattached, but it'll be attached here. I'm going to keep working like this all the way up. Then I'll be back to show the embroidery for the face. And I will be back in just a minute. So here I am at the embroidery. I did have to change the method of embroidery I was going to do. I was just going to do duplicate stitch, and when I tried that, it didn't work. So what I'm doing instead is chain stitch. With chain stitch meaning the embroidery term, not the crochet term. So I'm inserting my needle back in the loop, in the previous loop, going up to the next stitch, catching the yarn and pulling up. So I'm making what looks to be like a surface chain if you were to crochet this. And that's effectively what I'm doing. I'm just not using a crochet needle. I'm just going to repeat that all the way to the top of this column that I need to do. And then I'll pull the yarn back down to the bottom and go again across the middle of this little guy's mouth. So again, entering back into the loop that I just made, trying not to split the yarn under the horizontal bar, looping the yarn around and pulling up. And trying not to pull too tight. And that way it will lie nice and flat on the top. Because of how I did do this, the head is actually wider than the graphics are in the game. So I'm having to modify the pattern slightly. I can't just use its pixel map or pixel drawing to show me how to do the embroidery. So this is his mouth, and then there will be an eye there and an eye there. I'm going to close up the top just like I did for the body and the legs, stuffing as I go, and then it will be all done, and I'll show you how it came out. Be back in a bit. And here is our little friend all finished. So all 4 legs can articulate. I did add a stitch in the middle of his head so it's a little bit more stable. But this is our little friend all done. And I hope you really have enjoyed this video. If you have, please consider dropping a like. If you want to see more, hit subscribe with notifications on. Changes in YouTube's algorithm have unfortunately made this more necessary. And I will see you next time on Make It Mondays. Bye.